Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Den here once again, and in today's video I am going to be looking at a Reddit leak. Yes, I haven't done that in a very long time, but yeah, I just thought, because we're waiting for the release date of Legend of the Sea Devils, that for some reason actually hasn't happened yet. We're just anticipating it, and the BBC marketing is leaving it till last minute once again. So yeah, let's have a look at this post. It's from over a month ago, but I just thought to make the video just to kind of have the speculation. But yeah, with these sorts of videos, just take them with a huge grain of salt, because chances are that they're not true, but it's always fun to speculate because sometimes they do actually get some stuff right. But yeah, with that being said, let's get into this video. Okay then, so this is from r/Doctor Who Leaks, Chibnall's End and RTD's Vision. Hello, the following is source info, a bit from multiple sources, but if you do not believe in that sort of thing, I'd recommend not bothering with this post, as the following is a consensus I have drawn from numerous sources working on the show. Okay, very interesting. I am going to recount what I have heard from a number of sources, some of Chibnall's crew, some of the BBC Studios people, Caters, some of RTD's crew at Bad Wolf. Okay, so there's a lot of sources. Some of them are higher up the ranks than others, but none of them are so high up where everything I've been told couldn't be taken with a pinch of salt. I'm merely going to talk about the information I have amalgamated, couldn't get more words out there, from them all. Some of this will be more speculative than other bits, but I will try and clarify when I know less, or more, if you will. Okay, that's very nice of them. I will begin with Chibnall's ending, then I will move on to the behind the scenes of the transition, as well as what I know of RTD. I know the least about RTD compared to what I knew about Chibnall for Series 13 and these specials, as it has been a bit tougher to get sources. Also, they haven't even gone into filming for RTD yet, so it's unlikely anything I tell you now is even that concrete. For example, originally Series 12 was intended to be broadcast in autumn 2019, but after Series 11's success, it was posted to January 2020 to give Chibnall more space in this vision, so I'm guessing they meant postpone there. Okay, that's a very interesting one. I would have been interested to see what Series 12 would have been like if it did air in 2019. It would have been a bit of a crunch in terms of production time. But anyway, okay. So that in itself was a very last minute choice prior to filming beginning, so there will be things here about RTD which might not be true. Legend of the Sea Devils, okay, that episode that we're anticipating a lot now, is supposed to be written by both Chris Chibnall and a newcomer to the show. Originally the storyline was set to be part of Series 13, originally planned to not be a big series long storyline, which was intended, brackets pre-COVID, to be broadcast in spring 2021, although Chibnall had been pushing the BBC to let him broadcast it in autumn 2021. Series 13 was originally intended to have Village of the Angels and War of the Sontarans in a similar format to how they ended up being broadcast. Okay, I wonder what they mean by that though, because they were part of the overarching narrative. Now, if Series 13 wasn't originally meant to have that, I would have been intrigued on how that would have gone, to be honest. Same will apply for the Sea Devils. Originally, Eve of the Daleks was going to be a very different Dalek special, but had to be scaled down due to COVID and budget concerns, which was also linked to COVID, as the finale episodes of Series 13 and the VFX used turned out to be more expensive than they probably would have done pre-COVID. Okay, that does make a lot of sense. So could have Eve of the Daleks been another Dalek invasion story? Could we have seen Davros? That's something that, I do hope we get to find out, like, what was the original plans with these episodes pre-pandemic. I would have liked to know that. Like, I would like to see Chibnall release a book similar to Russell T Davies, like The Writer's Tale, where there's bunch of production notes, and I would love to read them because I love hearing behind the scenes stuff. It's absolutely fascinating to me. Nonetheless, the episode had its fair share of behind the scenes problems, with the Sea Devil costumes being somewhat difficult on set and not coming out as great as they expected. Therefore, VFX has been used, you can see this in the trailer, to make them seem less rubbery. Okay, that doesn't surprise me if I'm being completely honest, which is how they have been described. Unsurprisingly, the episode will not link... Unsurprisingly, the episode will not link heavily into the series storylines. I completely lost where I was reading from there. However, the relationship between the Doctor and Yaz will be an underlying plot thread, much like how it was in Eve of the Daleks. The idea for the plot thread is for the Doctor to never explicitly say "I love you" to Yaz, but to have it implied that the Doctor has similar feelings, yet to be more afraid to actively approach them in a way. However, in the Centenary special, you will see the two of them kiss a bit in a non-romantic context, sort of. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, that's an interesting comment there. The Sea Devil story, in regards to quality, is supposed to be similar to the quality of War of the Sontarans. That is a very, very watchable return of an old foe in a not enormously complex storyline. Okay, that is something I love, because I love War of the Sontarans, so to see the Sea Devils get the same treatment, I'm 100% down for that. The historical elements will also come into play in a similar capacity. I love that. Hopefully this is true. The actual finale, though, the Centenary special, is set to be 75 to 90 minutes in length. Feature length is the phrasing, and I have been told it is one of the longest episodes ever. So expect something in the 75 to 90 minute region, much like the End of Time Part 2 and Revolution of the Daleks. The story will 100% feature the Dwan Master and units who will be instrumental to the plot. It shall also feature the fugitive Doctor played by Jo Martin, but I am told she will not be the main character or a cameo, more of a supporting role. I mean, I would love to see Jo Martin come back, and hopefully, it is for a bigger role and not a cameo compared to her previous appearances. We need to find out more about the fugitive Doctor. I will note that a lot of this episode has been kept very secure by Chibnall, who doesn't want to spoil it, so I have been given a lot of conflicting descriptions on some plot points, with it being suggested that Chibnall has recorded several endings to ensure it doesn't leak. Now, I know they've done that with soap operas in the past. I think Coronation Street is one in particular, but would Doctor Who do that? Wouldn't that be expensive? I guess we'll just have to see, but that would be a good way on tackling leaks. And also if there's any filming leaks that emerge. I believe he did a similar thing on certain episodes of Broadchurch, but I wouldn't know which, as I never watched it. Nonetheless, I'm pretty certain, that the Timeless Child will be important to the plot, but without Chibnall ever fully revealing everything to help ensure that the storyline is kept a mystery. My impression is that the Timeless Child will be left in a such way that the arc is satisfyingly concluded. A bit doubtful on that one, thereby not leaving any baggage for the next showrunner. I say it like that because Chibnall wasn't 100% sure who the next showrunner would be at the time he was even filming the episode. All the same, I do know for a fact that the Doctor and Yaz will kiss in a similar context to Nine and Rose kiss in The Parting of the Ways. Okay, so yeah, not necessarily in a romantic way. Okay, now I understand what they meant earlier. That will not actually be how the Doctor regenerates, though, although I think it's something along the lines of her being mortally wounded. After that kiss scene, the scene in the park caught during filming that takes place with the 13th Doctor, Yaz, Dan and Graham. Graham will be the sort of jumping off point for the episode, with him calling the Doctor back to Earth, similar to Martha in Series 4. Ryan will not feature as Tosin Cole because of scheduling conflicts, but he will be referenced in the episode and not just ignored. Throughout the episode, Graham and Dan will have some amusing bromance, and at the end they both go off together in such a way to suggest the two of them will have a Jargo and Lightfoot-esque Big Finish box set in a few years' time. I would be down to listen to that. The final scene with a companion is between the Doctor and Yaz. This is the scene that is set on the TARDIS, with the last recorded scene featuring Jodie. A lot will remain unsaid as the Doctor prepares to face off against either the Division or the Master, or both. Even that is unclear from the rumours I have heard. with the Doctor and Yaz having an emotional and tear-jerking interaction before Jodie sends Yaz away, using a similar tactic to 9 in Parting of the Ways. Then a final confrontation takes place. Not entirely sure what happens here. Then the Doctor survives, but is in a situation where she has to regenerate. Okay, so this is where we get onto the regeneration details. I have heard 3 alternatives for how 13 actually regenerates. Again, I don't know if all 3 were filmed, but I know for a fact that all 3 were scripted and circulated. The first one I heard was that she regenerates on the floor of the TARDIS after setting the TARDIS coordinates for Gallifrey, which in this version has allegedly returned, which obviously is not true now because they said the regeneration won't be in the TARDIS, thus leaving me with the 2 others I have heard. The first is that the Doctor will regenerate on a planet like Khan or something like that, where a regeneration is forced into occurring by an external force, similar to the Sisterhood of Khan. The other is a Doctor Falls style scenario with the Doctor regenerating on an alien battlefield, if that makes sense. So, yeah, the Doctor falls with that cliffhanger where Capaldi refuses to regenerate in the South Pole, so not necessarily an alien battlefield, but still. My guess is on the former rather than the latter, based on what I know RTD has planned for the 60th. Speaking of the actual transition from Chibnall to RTD, has occurred a bit late in the day. I think the marketing people only knew RTD was taking over on the day of announcement. That part of me isn't surprised by that, if I'm being completely honest. Just, I don't know, like some of the behind the scenes stuff just doesn't surprise me when it comes to the marketing and the Chibnall era. At one stage, Sally Wainwright was in talks, and I know that Chibnall was considering to stay on for Series 14 at one point, so they'd have more time to find someone, as otherwise they'd have to go on hiatus for a little while, most likely a year or 2, until someone was suitable. Okay, someone suitable was found. My understanding is that the BBC were under the impression that Chibnall would stay around until the 60th, and at least 1 or 2 more seasons. So looking for its successor wasn't that important. Inevitably, RTD came in, having heard about the situation, and the BBC fell in love with his MCU-esque plans for Doctor Who. RTD wants to elaborate on his vision for his era by having either Doctor Who or a spin-off run all year long and sometimes coherently. I don't know what spin-offs he has planned exactly, but I got the impression you can expect some old faces to lead some of the spin-offs, with all the spin-offs having backdoor pilots within the actual show, similar to School Reunion, unlike Class. RTD also wants to broadcast Doctor Who annually in the spring with either 8 or 10 episodes per run. I've heard conflicting reports on the number, with some even suggesting a return to 13, which, yeah, is a lot less likely. As well as having either a Christmas or New Year's special. Personally, I would love the Christmas specials to return. They would be amazing to see back. The special will be dropped for 2022/2023 and might be as well for 2023 and 2024, but from 2024/25 onwards, you can expect it to 100% return. So yeah, that's a good question. We probably won't even see a special over the festive period this year. That is quite disappointing, but I guess it's understandable with the transition period with Doctor Who right now. For the 60th anniversary, RTD will be showrunning 3 specials featuring Tennant as a variation of the 10th Doctor. Not the Meta-Crisis Doctor, but it'll be something that explains why Tennant looks a good bit older. I imagine it'll be similar to the Creator thing. I know for certain, that Catherine Tate will reappear in one of the specials, not necessarily as Donna, and Matt Smith will appear in an episode too. All 3 of the specials will be written by RTD and will be filmed from May to August this year, so expect an announcement in the coming months. So we might get casting announcements very soon then, if this is true. After that, they will be filming the actual Series 14, set to air in spring 2024, which will feature the 14th Doctor. It's possible that they only start filming, though, after the Centenary special airs to keep the 14th Doctor's identity a surprise. So yeah, that makes sense. They're going to film the anniversary stuff with Tennant first, and then they obviously film for Series 14 after. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense anyway, and as well from a timing perspective as well. Personally, I don't know who 14 is, and I believe they might be in the final stages of auditions. However, people of all genders, ethnicities, sexualities have been considered for the part. I do not expect 14 to be a big name, but I would anticipate them potentially having a similar charisma to Tennant and Smith. Okay. And then we're nearly at the end of this now, but I've heard that for the spin-offs, RTD has considered a variety of ideas. One that I personally was intrigued by was an animated Doctor Who. Oh, okay, with past iterations voicing the actors, which could be a co-production with Big Finish, potentially. I have heard that the ideas that are being tossed around for a child-friendly spin-off with a past companion similar to Sarah Jane, but different. So we've got Catherine Tate's Donna, which would be problematic considering, you know, what happened with Donna. We've got Freema Agyeman's Martha Jones and Jenna Coleman's Clara have been touted as potential contenders. Personally, I would like to see Martha, but also we have Katie Manning's Jo Grant and Sophie Aldred's Ace being mentioned as well. That would also be both excellent choices. It has also been suggested that both Matt Smith and David Tennant could lead their own seasons, as both seem to be missing the role and could be keen to help RTD build the show into an empire. Jodie Whittaker has also been considered to return for a cameo in an episode, like Luke in The Mandalorian. What? Or to appear in an event sort of series. Interesting that there's still plans for the 13th Doctor. That's actually quite nice to hear. In addition, a Torchwood revival has been suggested, but might be unlikely given the controversy surrounding John Barrowman. If it is not revived, it has been suggested that a different show could take its place, which would be aimed at a similar demographic, but a different plotline and location. Most interestingly of all, a Paul McGann spin-off was suggested, as RTD has a soft spot for him and feels guilty that he never had a full era, with the same going for Joe Martin. However, both of these are unlikely, as BBC Studios does not want to confuse audiences by having two Doctors ongoing at the same time, even though they're not opposed to event series happening featuring past incarnations. Okay, so we're on the final bit now. So for the writers that are planned, RTD has heavily considered a whole group of new writers, including some from Big Finish, with some being commissioned for episodes for Series 14. Out of the older writers, I know RTD and Moffat are good friends, and that Moffat has been asked to write for Series 14. Well then, that is certainly one of the most detailed rumours or leaks that I've looked at on Reddit. Personally, I've got to say, take it with a huge grain of salt, but a few things do seem, well, it's kind of like common sense really, that yeah, Series 13 would have been affected by COVID, and that yeah, Doctor Who Flux became a big series storyline, you know, an ongoing storyline, because yeah, it was more practical, and you know, to have the same cast throughout the 6 episodes, it made a lot of sense. So yeah, I guess they've probably just pieced together certain bits that have, you know, been said in interviews and kind of formed a story. But if this is true, again, I'm going to, you know, kind of remain optimistic. I do hope that Doctor Who ends up with a big cinematic universe. That would mean a lot to me personally, because I'm a Marvel fan as well. And it would work really well with Doctor Who, and we'd have new Doctor Who content on all year that would be amazing, and I hope that that does happen. But yeah, with that being said though, thank you very much for tuning into today's video. I know I've made a Reddit video, probably not the most interesting videos going, but I just thought to talk about this one because it is very interesting to just highlight some interesting conversations to be had about the future of the show. But with that being said, thank you very much for all the support. If you are new around here, be sure to subscribe for more nerdy content, as well on the road to 10,000 subscribers, which I would love to reach by the end of this year. But with that being said, thank you very much again. Leave a comment, do you think this leak is likely to be true? And yeah, goodbye for now.